Uh, Namaste, Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.
Jai
Welcome
Shri Ram,
to
Vande Mataram.
welcome to another episode of Navavimarsh. We just finished our Bengali podcast, and now I am back with English. So today we again have with us Christopher Lizelot. So hello, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Fine.
How
So
are
I
you?
think I am tired and I need a tea.
No. We are, you are allowed. You are allowed to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for me to allowing this. So we have a very interesting topic tonight. Evening or morning, wherever you are watching this.
Yeah.
So, this phenomena of Indian politics, I'll take 3 4 minutes to actually give a perspective to the audience itself, what we're going to talk about. So, Indian politics, the landmass, the people, culture is very diverse. Okay,
Yes.
in that way, the electoral politics that we see in America or Europe is very different from what we see here in India. Okay, especially in subcontinent. Okay. On
Hmm.
that context, the vote bank politics, which was actually started in 1940s, 51 onwards when the first elections happened. So
Hmm.
the OBC portion, the OBC vote bank and the Dalit vote bank are the most numerous, significant vote bank in terms of sheer numbers that they possess.
Yes.
Okay, in the electoral political context. So on that context, today Christopher Lizelot will be giving us an insight, an analysis, a political strategic analysis of the Dalit vote bank, the Dalit politics in West Bengal specifically, and we will also link it to certain extent with the BJP's outreach program. And on that context, we might talk about something about RSS and other organizations which are affiliated. So over to you, Christopher. Christopher, please go ahead with your opening comments and remarks.
Yeah. Hi. I okay. So let's get to some understanding of how vote bank works, right? So there is a understanding that perhaps we don't study a lot of international politics, so we don't know. Typically, Indians don't understand U.S. politics or European politics that much because people don't study these at length. It's not like I am an expert, but uh, the concept of vote bank is there in every country, okay, or every democracy. So, for example, the blacks in America, they overwhelmingly used to vote Republican back when they could, before the civil rights bills of the 1964 or 5. Okay, so the understanding was that the blacks were voting for the Republicans because Lincoln fought for their to free them from slavery, and that followed with them becoming loyal voters of the Republicans, right? So what happened in 1964 was Kennedy was murdered in 1963, I think 63 or 64, and Lyndon B. Johnson became the president. Okay, so Lyndon B. Johnson enacted the civil rights law, civil rights bill, and that gave blacks voting rights. Okay, and they became overwhelmingly Democrats. So blacks originally voted for Republicans, and they shifted to Democrat. And the white slave owners and all, they, a lot of them voted for Democrats. They heavily shifted to Republicans. So the southern belt, where the Republicans are strong, that became overwhelming. That was original Democrats. So Democrats were called Dixiecrats because many of them were slave owners. So as you can see, that vote banks shift. This is not new, right? It depends on your policies and your the program that your party might have, or what you do, material benefits that you give to your constituents. And now see, very interestingly, the Democrats have even lost a lot of the black male vote in the last election with Trump. Trump has got the Hispanic vote and a lot of the black vote because they are doing transgender politics, that has and kind of the price rise and all that in America, the inflation due to the bad policies of Joe Biden and all. That has led to a consolidation of again voter base for Republicans, which is a multiracial consolidation. So white college, non-college educated whites and blacks and Hispanics, men, all these people, right? So that is how you see that voters shift from time to time. They shift their allegiance depending on their interests and their what they get out of the parties. So in Bengal, for example, in West Bengal, when I say Bengal, it means West Bengal in this context. So in West Bengal, the CPIM had a good coalition of large section of Muslims, some Dalit votes, and some tribal, lot of the tribal vote, which is around 7% or so, and Dalit vote is around 23, which is the second highest in India, and after Punjab, because of the partition, right? Like because of the partition, a lot of the Dalits came over from its side. Uh, so that, and you have a lot of the middle castes and all did not always stick with the CPIM. So mainly Dalit, tribal, Muslim, these kind of people voted for CPIM broadly. But the interesting thing is the CPIM had a broader appeal, in the sense that the CPIM had its cadres in every section of society almost. So the voter base was very like a rainbow coalition of sorts, right, for CPIM. Now with the BJP and TMC, it is much simpler. Like the TMC is basically heavily banking on Muslim votes, whereas the BJP obviously cannot bank on the Muslim votes. They are going for the Hindu votes. So primarily the Hindus, a large, obviously the biggest section of the Hindus is the Dalit vote bank of 20% or 23% or so. In that sense, the Dalit vote, I'm counting the 2011 census data. Now I think that it has gone down a bit more, because the Muslim population has certainly increased in West Bengal. So in 2011, the Muslim population was 27%. I am sure it has gone beyond 30 now at this point in 2025. And it may be near 35 or so, maybe. Without the census data, we cannot say. Now, with the Dalit vote being around 23% in 2011, even if it is still around 20% or so, it is still the second largest voting bloc. But the thing is, the Dalits are not a single voting bloc. The Dalits are of different castes among themselves. Unlike the Muslims, they are, so even the Muslims, think about it, the Muslims have very different voting blocks. So earlier they used in Malda, Murshidabad, they used to have they used to vote for Congress, and in southern Bengal they used to vote for CPIM. Now what happened with TMC is, because after 2014, because of the rise of the BJP in the center, the Muslim vote bank started consolidating in all areas in favor of TMC. So TMC gets the majority of the Muslim vote, the TMC gets, right? That is over 95% consolidation. मतलब Muslim League के बाद एक ऐसा party है which is getting the largest consolidation of Muslim votes. Having said that, so let's then understand that what happened to the CPIM. Why the CPIM is not getting any seats in the Vidhan Sabha or Lok Sabha anymore, because the Dalit vote has en masse mostly shifted to the BJP in most places. Okay. Even the tribal votes, so Naxalbari and all these old leftist bastions, even where the CPI-ML and all were there, where the Naxal movement happened, where from after Naxalbari and all these places, they have been slowly shifting to the BJP, because the BJP is providing them with benefits for benefits beyond just the small SOPs that TMC promises. Like the TMC has only a few things. The main vote base of the TMC votes for TMC because they are against BJP, right? They are the biggest opponent against BJP. That's the whole point of TMC. Otherwise, if you look at TMC's beneficiary class, it is not very big. Like, it has largely shifted to BJP, right? So uh, the the beneficiary class is not alone, sustaining TMC. It is mainly the Muslim vote, which is huge, that is sustaining TMC. But the Dalit vote is also, the BJP is getting almost 40% vote in the last three elections, because the Dalit vote has heavily consolidated in favor of BJP. Now you will ask that why, how is the Dalit vote, perhaps consolidating? So this is typically the leftist argument is BJP is a Brahmin party, BJP is a Banya party, BJP is a upper caste party. How do we know that the Dalits are actually voting for BJP? Why are the Dalits voting for? Are they stupid? That's why they're voting for BJP. That's not true. The
Uh,
Dalits are voting
just one
BJP.
question, just one thing I
Yes,
need to add to this, because that will
yes,
actually enhance the discussion itself. Uh,
yes.
so when we talk about political parties, okay, political parties don't work in vacuum or at the ideological level all the time. So for
True.
the context, any so-called right-wing party, right-wing in the Western sense, not in the Indian sense, right-wing
Mhm.
party, they will start with right-wing, but over the period they will shift to center, and they might even go to left. And the same thing has happened with Congress, was a centrist party. Now it has become a loony left wing party. BJP started as a Bania party. That is something which is supported by the trading class, and that's a reality. But
Hmm,
over the
hmm, hmm.
years, in its evolution as a political party, to sustain its political ambitions and become an all-encompassing party which actually represents the majority of the component of the society, it has to become a centrist party and maybe bit left-leaning to create a overarching base where it can gather its votes from. Now over to you.
No, I totally agree with you. But dekho, the BJP was never anti-Dalit, so to speak. Like, my bigger assertion is here that the BJP's ideology, if we take the Hindutva ideology broadly as BJP's ideology, then we have to go back to the pre independence era, like British colonial era, right? There you have books being published like Hindus are dying race, and you have the Hindu Mahasabha coming up slowly, the biggest alliance of Hindus back in the day. So there, Swami Shraddhanand and many others, they were actually champions of Dalit rights. Like, they were like, Dalit should be allowed to enter temples. Savarkar was a big champion of Dalit rights and all that. Um, in that way, if you look at it, the the Dalit vote, the Dalit ideology was never. I mean, BJP was not really against Dalits in that sense ever. Although the left has repeatedly said that and all that, but as we know, we have constantly discussed every time that it's actually the CPIM which has the highest number of Brahmin leaders and the biggest Brahmanical politburo and top leadership mostly are Brahmins. There are very few women leaders or Dalit leaders in their ranks and all that. So in that sense, the CPIM just pretended to get away with everything, and Congress was always a dominant caste party. Like, in that, so if you think about it, except the Hindutva parties like Hindu Mahasabha, later Jansangh and BJP, no party was actually really dedicated to the Dalit cause except BSP or a few others, like or Ambedkar's party of All India Scheduled Caste Federation, which was Jogen Mondol's party as well. So, with the exception of a few Dalit parties, no other mainstream political party except the BJP or the Jansangh was actually pro-Dalit ever. In fact, Dr. Ambedkar had written a book called "What Congress and Gandhi Have Done for the Done to the Untouchables." Okay, so Dr. Ambedkar takes out instances where Congress leaders are completely casteist and they are very racist against Dalits, and they abuse the Dalits and Dalit leaders like Ambedkar and all that. And even Babu Jagjivan Ram was basically propped up by Congress to go against Ambedkar, who was organizing the Dalits. So the Congress was never in, for Dalit interests, if we take Ambedkar's view. Now coming to, let's say, the CPIM. The CPIM, as I've explained earlier, the CPIM had two bases, one in South and one in Bengal, right? And the CPIM was, sometimes it was popular in Bihar and a few other places, but its lasting effects were felt politically in Bengal and Kerala and these places. And in both these places, it was the Brahmins and upper castes who were in the CPIM, who were the main political class that controlled and maneuvered the CPIM in its position, because it was a completely ideological party, right? And although it had some tribal bases and all that, and yeah, Tripura as well. So in that sense, where the CPIM was largely, although its base was lower caste, Muslim, Dalit and all these, it's always, the leadership was always upper caste. And as we know that it had committed atrocities like Morijhapi and other political violence, massacres, where mostly Dalits and other lower caste died. So we cannot ever seriously say that the CPIM was a pro Dalit or pro lower caste party in any sense. In fact, CPIM is probably the most Brahmanical party in India in that sense. So once we have eliminated all these parties, the mainstream left parties and the Congress and all, we can only understand, yes, exactly, the original lynch mob. Thank you for putting this up. So this is so what we understand is essentially very few mainstream parties, national parties, were actually in favor of Dalits and their rights and their what can be done for their betterment and upliftment and all that. Only actually the BJP does that. The BJP actually has provided latrine and all that stuff to villages, and mostly let us understand that most of these facilities were denied to the villages in the absolute hinterland, the rural hinterland, where most people there were Dalits or lower caste or whatever. So certainly poor. So what we have to understand is the BJP has, like Abhay has said, that what the CPIM says the BJP implements. That's great. Having said that, it is not just this factor that is pushing the Dalits to BJP. We have to understand that there is a more incendiary factor that is working to pushing the Dalits towards the BJP, which the Kolkata elites do not understand, the upper caste elites, the urban elites do not understand. And that is that because the the TMC and the CPIM has appeased the Muslim leaders of their, the state of West Bengal, it is only the BJP that can save the Dalits from the parties like the Jamaat and Abbas Siddiqui and TMC and all these parties, right? So it's only the BJP that can save them from extinction, because they are also, if you look at the Motuas are not the only Dalits in West Bengal, by the way. So the major castes are, if you look at it, the Rajbanshis in the north, the Motuas in the south, there are Pondra Khatriyas, there are others, right? These parties, these castes, they form the major block of the Dalit vote. Now, if you take these castes, especially the Motuas, who are the most vocal about their support to BJP and their demand for CA and all that, they have many families left in Bangladesh. So the majority of Hindus that we see in Bangladesh are actually, the Dalits, the Mutuas, right? And they were primarily concentrated in the East Bengal. And what happened as a result is that once the partition happened and they did not get, they got, like, for example, Jogendranath Mondal, right? He made the mistake of aligning with the Muslim League, and what happened as a result is a lot of them stayed back, and then they lost a lot of their land and population to riots and massacres in Bangladesh and all. and by Pakistan as well. So what happened is slowly they started migrating to West Bengal, and now they are demanding the citizenship. But only the BJP took it up and made it an issue to give them citizenship. So their support for the BJP is actually quite, it's simple. It's along a very transactional lines where they are quite well aligned with the BJP's program of pan-Hindu unity across castes. So they are a part of that. They don't contest the BJP in that sense. Of course, there are elements within the Mutua caste who are against Hindutva, but these are fringe elements within them. Like they are not the mainstream. Okay. So if we go by, and even if you look at the Mutua ideology, so there was a lot of understanding of leftists that the Dalit movements. So why does the left support caste movements? Have you ever wondered, like, why does the left, which talks about secular movements and which actually rejected caste movements in West Bengal mostly, right? Why are they suddenly talking about caste so much? So they always talk about caste to break Hindu unity. That is their job. The more they break Hindu unity, the more the BJP's vote share declines and their vote share increases and all that. That understanding is there. The left typically did not ever. So Jyoti Basu famously said that when the Mandal Commission was being implemented, Jyoti Basu said there are only two castes, rich and poor, right? And we all know where most of the CPM leadership belong. So the point here is that the CPIM, which typically ignored caste politics, is now obsessed with caste politics. And I know this from my sources in the CPIM as well. But the bigger point is the CPIM, despite raising issues of CA back when it was still making some sense, it was thinking about refugees, so to speak, before it came to power in 1977. The CPIM used to call for these kind of debates on the atrocities on refugees and people from East Bengal and Bangladesh who were Hindus. So the CPIM conveniently then forgot about it after it came to power in 1977. And then again it is starting to raise this caste issue. And I know this very well. I'll tell you why. Because just yesterday I saw a Twitter post which is alleging that 130 families were declined from entering the temples in Midnapur. Okay. So typically now, while I am also someone who says that West Bengal is the most caste state in India, I also know that the casteism of West Bengal is very hidden. It is not like typically, Bihar or UP or these other places, right? The West Bengal never really had these temple entry movements because people were not discriminated on the basis of caste, from entering temples. Anyone can enter the temples in West Bengal from any caste. You have been to temples, so have I. I don't think anybody has ever asked your caste or identity. Even Muslims can enter if they want. So the point is that this kind of thing the CPIM is doing deliberately to break Hindu unity, and that is their whole interest. But they are also, doing this out of a nostalgia, because at one time the Dalits did vote for them. But now these Dalits, so they have this bigger question that why are Dalits going for Brahminical parties like the BJP? So for them, Hinduism is just Brahmins. Hinduism has a whole identity beyond Brahmin identity, right? Like what the Brahmins do, what they are, supposed to be priests or whatever. And as we have established in the past that the Brahmins are not just priests; they are intellectuals. They are not just religious elites; they are also kind of political elites. So for them, the Brahmins control. So they have a very textual understanding of Hinduism. So they think that whatever the Brahmins say, the Dalits do. But that's not true. Like we have had Bhakti movement and all these kind of Dalit religious assertion and all in Hinduism. So Hinduism is not just a Brahmin religion, right? Hinduism is beyond Brahmin, the Brahmin caste, and many Brahmins themselves have reformed Hinduism many times, right? So in that sense, the CPIM has a very textual understanding. So they can't understand why so for them BJP is also very North Indian party. They forget that the Jansang was formed by Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, and that the Hindutva ideology came from West Bengal in many ways, from Bengal, right? So they conveniently forget all this, and they call BJP Gutkha and all that, Gutkha party and all that. So they don't understand why these Dalits are now voting for BJP en masse. In fact, it is the non-Dalit voters who are not allowing BJP to come to power. I'm going ahead and saying that as well. That if BJP is getting 40% of the vote, it is mostly from the 23% of the Dalit votes. It is perhaps the middle castes among Hindus and some of the upper castes who are not voting for BJP. Okay. So they are the biggest beneficiaries of TMC. That is also there. And that is why you are seeing that despite BJP having an impressive 40% vote share, they are unable to come to power properly in the state using electoral mechanism. Also, there is the gender factor where men possibly vote more for BJP than women and all that stuff. So that factor is certainly there, but it is undoubtedly the fact that Dalits are voting for BJP, and the CPIM's textbook understanding is not allowing them to to comprehend why the Dalits are voting for BJP, despite the BJP being a Brahmin party and Baniya party and all that. So, if you have any points, perhaps your
Yeah.
mic is
No, no, it's fine. So it's very important things that we have laid down for the discussion to take place. So
yes,
I'll just add one more thing. Okay. When, as a common person talks about politics, they talk from a very simplified ideological perspective. CPM is
yes,
pro-poor party who looks for people's things, jobs, other things. BJP is Baniya party. They are only Hindu party. The real politic that happens on ground, okay, it's very different from what we perceive politics as it is. So these labels that we put into on parties, that is something which is superficial in nature. It doesn't work at all on this regard. So just for people who are like watching this program or listening to this, try to understand the society that we function, the politicians, the bureaucrats, every one of us comes from this society, and this society is very complex. You have to do a lot of good, bad, ugly, brilliant things to actually get something done. So, in that context, the BJP's outreach for the OBC and the Dalit vote bank is a ground
yes,
reality which the middle class, the new middle class, which is an invention, and uh, created by BJP itself. 2001, when the Golden Quadrilateral was inaugurated, when DFC was inaugurated,
mm,
it was it was something Mr. Bajpayee knew that the road I am building now, connecting Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and four metros, the DFC, it will take 30, 40 years to build. But that visionary program that Mr. Bajpayee had created, teach people to go to school. Okay, that program of uh,
true,
of of making education, primary education, mandatory and putting money into this. So as Abhay had mentioned, that CPM and other parties preach, BJP implements it. Okay, there are thousand things which I disagree with BJP. Okay, you agree with, I
yes,
agree with. But it's important to understand that everybody has their dark side. We as voters need to choose who can help us, who will help myself and my future generations with less evil things. Okay, the less evil that we have to choose. We cannot look for Ramchandra. It is not Satyug. You will not find any Ramchandra in any party. So then you can
hey,
continue your
but the
argument.
worst logic in West Bengal is if you don't find Ramchandra, you will vote for Ravan. Matlab, that is something I never understand when people insult you and people say BJP is not perfect, BJP is bad. Why do they justify people voting for TMC? Like if you're voting for TMC, you're essentially giving up your future for all intents and purposes. You are giving up on industry, you're giving up on development, you're giving up on your religion, you're giving up on your demography, you're giving up on your life in general, safety, security, money, everything, right? So if people in India, and I've seen a lot of people outside of West Bengal loving Mamata Banerjee, okay, but they will never shift to West Bengal. That is the fun thing. Like, if people, let's say you take a young kid, okay, from a tier 2 city in I don't know, Madhya Pradesh, let's say, okay, and you ask him that, bro, where do you want to go? Maybe he'll say Delhi, maybe he'll say Noida, maybe he will say Gujarat, maybe he will say Bangalore, maybe Tamil Nadu, maybe Chennai and all that. But nobody says Calcutta. I am pretty sure nobody outside Calcutta says Calcutta. And even Calcutta people don't stay in Calcutta anymore, right? So the craze of the TMC, I would say, is there in Pakistan and outside West Bengal, and in Bangladesh, and you know some parts of West Bengal where the so-called minority population is high. But other than that, the TMC has no craze. Now, coming to the BJP's, see, the left, I'll tell you, I know some people because of my, connections in different places. I know some leftist leaders who are totally confused about the rise of the BJP. I know this, like, some of them, I've met them and they have said that, oh my God, the BJP is taking over. How and why? And they are frustrated. They are totally angry and sad and all that. Also, I understand, what happens. Like, they were the elites, right? They were the ruling party till 2011, and now nobody gives a damn about them. Like, if they die, nobody cares, right? So that's the whole thing. Uh, so the CPIM leaders and all, they are very confused. They have these, and the CPIM, what it does is it depends a lot on academic seminars and academicians and all that. And I know some of the academics they confer with, and I can tell you for a fact that some of their old leaders are genuinely confused, okay, because see, they are basically surrounded by very urban educated people who have no idea about why people vote the way they do. So firstly, they think that poor people will always by default vote for socialists, okay, and that's totally wrong. The people never voted for CPM because they were socialists. The CPIM voted for CPIM. The poor people voted for CPIM at one time. So you know why? Because the CPIM had the upper caste leaders. The CPIM had the elite in society. And at one time, the Bhadralok was the elite of Bengali society, like the educated Bhadralok who was kind of could talk about all kinds of topics and all that. Uh, these were the people whom people looked up to. So they would mimic them and they would try to be like them, like Rene Girard, right? Like he said.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
CPIM had a currency among the poor people, but they thought that this is because their ideology, but that's not true. The poor people don't necessarily vote for a socialist party because of its ideology. By that logic, the poor people by default would always vote for BJP in every election now, because Narendra Modi has done more socialism than any socialist party in the history of this country. Okay. Narendra Modi has done socialism better and more efficiently than the CPIM ever did in its entire regime of 34 years in West Bengal, or the Congress in 70 years. The Narendra Modi single-handedly has delivered goods and services to every village in India. Okay. So by that logic, if socialism was the logic, so they can't think. So when they see BJP, they think of some Tilak wala guy from Uttar Pradesh as the representative of BJP. They can't imagine that educated people who read books, who maybe watch foreign films, who read, who talk in English, can ever vote for BJP. Okay, firstly, they can't imagine. Secondly, they also can't understand that the elites of West Bengal have changed. Like, because of them, their policies of uh, stagnation, the economic stagnation that CPIM did in West Bengal, they have changed the nature of the lead elites, right? the elites used to be the educated Bhadralok, which was the British colonial elite, and then the post-independence major elite were people who used to study in Jadavpur presidency, go to become engineers, doctors, lawyers, professors, teachers, these kind of people. But they have forgotten that because of the massive rural poverty, that the aspirational model has become Bahubalis now. Right now, if you ask a young kid who he wants to be, he will say, I want to be Raja Bhaiya Pappu Yadav in maybe North India. And in West Bengal, rather than saying, I want to be the next, I don't know, Abhijit Banerjee, the guy who won the Nobel Prize, nobody even knows the guy, right? So they will say, I want to be Anubrata Mondal. Yeah. And that's the whole thing is to be blamed on the commies. And they don't understand. They think that just because they kept society in a certain way, they privileged the Bhadralok leaders, the upper caste leaders. They imagine that they did not do anything wrong, but because of their whole problematic ideology and their union politics and all that remains is now a illegal kind of economy which is perpetuated by the TMC in the form of mafia and land mafia, coal mafia, all these type of things. And that is the whole reality that they don't understand, that people want to be rich. Oh, also the bigger factor is that they can't understand why poor people want to become rich. They think that the poor love being poor. Okay, so that is the other shock factor for them when they ask other people questions, right? Like, why would the Dalits, lower caste, landless laborers, farmers, peasants, all these people, why are they not coming to us? The answer is very simple: because you are losers, so people don't care about you anymore, right? If the CPIM won right now, and its upper caste leaders became leaders again, maybe the people would have looked at them and wanted to be like them. But because they are losing, and the BJP and TMC both have basically more Bahubali style leaders, people want to be Bahubali leaders. They don't give a damn about being Bhadraloks and educated people anymore. So this is the biggest problem that the CPIM and the urban people think, right? And they fail to, I saw myself, once. I remember that one of my juniors in a university, she was very leftist. Okay, and I saw that in UP, if you remember, in 2017, BJP won like 300 seats out of 400. Yeah,
300 plus.
yeah. So I remember that she started abusing the lower caste and peasants and all. Okay, say like, these people are uneducated idiots and all, they don't understand, they don't know anything, so they are voting for BJP and all, they are idiots, they are religious, they are dumb. So I was simply pointing out to her that she blocked me, actually. So I was simply pointing out that these are the lower castes who are also voting for CPIM and also Samajwadi Party and Congress and secular parties. So what changed? Like, suddenly they became communal, or what happened? Like, why do you hate them suddenly? And she blocked me. So I don't know what their reasoning was, but it is this classic thing where the left thinks of poor people as their playthings, where they think that if the left where they think that if the poor people are not voting according to their or thinking like them what they want, uh, they think that the poor people are stupid. That's the whole point. Like, you know I think Moinagda is giving us a lot of information about West Bengal. It is very good.
Yes. Actually, now we'll go back to 320. I think this is a good information. 320 BJP got in that year when they fought the election.
Yeah, Uttar Pradesh. Yeah.
Uh, so we'll leave that remarks to the audience to enjoy. Okay, people can come and chat and enjoy it. Yeah, I have one more very academic question to answer to you. Okay,
Mm.
so you mentioned in your initial remark that CPM had a kind of a good umbrella coalition of or umbrella,
Yeah.
what we call now, Pride. What is this called? I remember. I forgot the
Rainbow
terminology.
coalition. Yes,
Rainbow
yes, yes.
coalition. Correct. So, unfortunately, I cannot become. I could not become a good woke person. So sorry.
Haha, no, no, no.
Uh, CPM had a rainbow coalition. So this in Bengali we call moho bhango, okay, or this
Yes,
sense of betrayal. Okay, this. So
yes,
when do you
yes.
think when that taking shape as a critical shift towards BJP happened? Any year or period that you can identify?
So in 2011, the CPIM still had. So here's the funny thing: the Muslims were still voting for CPIM in 2011. Okay. So then Mamata Banerjee saw that and she started doing a ton of appeasement politics and all. Okay. The CPIM got around 41% votes even in 2011. So I have to conclude that a large section of that would certainly be Muslim, and even if if maybe even 20% of that is from Muslims, maybe 20% of that is also from the lower castes. Maybe not fully 20%, maybe 10-15% from lower castes and Dalits and OBCs, and Bhadralok, the upper caste vote is barely 10-12%. So it doesn't. So even if the CPIM got like half of that or even 2/3 of that, it doesn't make a big difference. Uh, and now it has gone even lower. So I don't know. But anyway, the CPIM still got 41%, which is pretty good, I would say. Now, coming to 2016, if you remember, the CPIM and Congress combined got 40%. The BJP got 10%, and the TMC got almost 50%. This was Vidhan Sabha. Now, in Lok Sabha 2014, right before that, the BJP got 17%, 17% of the vote. And the TMC, I think, got 35 or 36%, and the CPIM and Congress, they were getting some. I have to check the charts, but they weren't doing very well, obviously. I think they got 2 seats or something, and BJP got 2 seats. Congress always got the Malda Murshidabad till 2020
Four,
till
so 24,
2019. Yeah,
24 they
2019
lost. Correct.
maybe
Four they
Congress
lost.
got 2, and I think now Congress has zero from Congress. I think has 1 seat left. I think CPIM is zero in
Yeah, CPM 0.
2019.
Hmm.
Yeah. So so in 2016, the main opposition was actually Congress and CPM combined in the Vidhan Sabha of West Bengal. Now, in by 2019, what happened is, like 3 years after that, after 2016, BJP got 18 seats. Now you will ask why. So that means that between the 2014 and 2019 is when the CPIM's vote share completely, like most of the Dalit voters went to BJP. Okay. Now, I'm glad you asked me this question, and it's good to answer this because the shift from CPIM to BJP did not happen overnight. Okay. It happened because of a factor called Mamata Banerjee. So what she did was she heckled the so there was also a panchayat election in there were the panchayat election in 2018. Okay. And the CPIM supporters got beaten up left and right. Huh. So they were, and even before that, under the TMC government, the CPIM voters were having a horrible time. Okay. So ultimately, what happened is they were slowly shifting their base to the BJP. And once Dilip Ghosh came in 2016 as the state president, BJP got just 3 seats in 2016, 3 in Vidhan Sabha. Okay. And from there, it got 18 seats in the Lok Sabha in 2019. And one more seat should have been added, but it was, screwed on by rigging. So anyway, the BJP got like massive votes in 2019. So within 3 years, the CPIM supporters realized that the CPIM was completely inept. Like, what they realized is that voting for CPIM is only dividing the votes of the Hindus, and more importantly, they are unable to combat the TMC. Okay. the TMC needs to be combated in the same language, the same body language, and the same manner. And only Dilip Ghosh could bring that to the table, actually. So Dilip Ghosh was one of the best, investments that being Bengal BJP did at that time, the central BJP also. And had they not messed up his team in 2021, I think Dilip Ghosh could have gone very close to the victory, not 77 seats. We blamed him, but the fact is that he would have, like, he was messed up, like his team was changed and all that. Anyway, so Dilip Ghosh came in 2015. Yeah, Dilip Ghosh came in 2015, but like he was fairly unknown at that time. Rahul Sinha was still the president, and I think 2016 Dilip Ghosh was one of the MLAs that BJP had. BJP had 3 MLAs. One of them was Dilip Ghosh, and then he won from Kharagpur seat. And then suddenly things changed heavily. Now, anyway, so the main point here is that the CPIM lost a major chunk of its Hindu votes, like most of its Hindu votes, and to BJP, and almost entirety of its Muslim votes to TMC. Okay. Now, these were all developments around 2017, 2018, 2019, because 2018 Panchayat election was very horrible. Like, it was full of, murders and all that stuff. They're very common in West Bengal, for anyone who doesn't know. Now, if we have to understand why this happened, then we have to go back to the history of, anyway, we can do that later. But basically what happened is the CPIM's vote base completely shifted away from it, and it still hasn't gotten over it. Okay. And that's why today the BJP is the only party that can defeat the TMC, and which is why majority of the Dalit voters who actually have, possibility of gaining materially and otherwise from, the BJP, the next government, if it changes, they are the ones who are supporting the BJP the most. Actually, I have a theory that perhaps it is, so there are questions, right? I think the questions have come up in the chat box that
Yes.
why BJP wins in Assam and not in West Bengal, right? So one theory that a lot of people say is because the Muslim vote in Assam is very concentrated in the southern part, and the northern part has more seats, so the Hindu consolidation in the north helps the BJP to win. But I'm not saying that's completely right, but that's right for Assam to some extent. But West Bengal is also, it's not as bad as people think. So people think that West Bengal the Muslim votes are dispersed. Now that has actually helped BJP in the past. So what happened in 2021, if you look at the seats in 2021 for BJP, the BJP did well, where there were around 20-25% Muslims, or 10-15% Muslims, right? Where there was a presence of some Muslims, the BJP did well in those seats. The BJP obviously lost in the seats with over 40-30% Muslims or 40% Muslim. BJP lost in those seats. But the BJP also did badly in seats which were almost entirely Hindu, like with 85%, 90% Hindus. BJP actually lost in those seats. Now, this is the weird thing. Like, many people expected BJP to do really well in places like Bankura, Purulia, Jhargram, and all these places, which are in the western part of the state. Now, BJP did not. And that is the problem. Anonymous Hindu, I think that you are not entirely right. I will tell you why. Organizational strength. Now, here's where a lot of people say organization banana chahiye, organization nahi hai. Why organization matters? So I'll tell you what. The CPIM had the best organization in the history of West Bengal back in, when it was ruling. Mamata did not have a very good organization. If you think that Mamata Banerjee won because of organization, then you don't know the reality. Okay. What happened is the organizational aspect does not matter when the voters have determined to kick you out of power. Okay. So CPIM had the best possible organization in 2011, way better than TMC. So even a weak CPM has a better organization than TMC. But even then, the TMC one, you really think Madan Mitra is a great organizer, Subroto Bokshi and all these people? They are not even 10% of Anil Bishwash or Biman Boshu and all these people. Okay, organization se ghanta hota hai. I'll tell you why. Because even in 2019, most of what Dilip Ghosh was doing was he did not have an organization per se. What he used to do is he used to go to the villages where TMC was doing, Gundagardi and all, and he used to threaten them. Okay. So the village voters, they kind of got some faith in him and they started voting for BJP. Huh. But it's wrong to say that there was an organization in 2019, which was BJP's best year. Okay. So, and with an organization, sometimes the organization becomes a liability. So that's what happened in 2021. A lot of people joined the BJP, and what they did was they started becoming lazy and they started cutting deals with the TMC. So that actually becomes a liability in many ways, right? Uh, so that's what I'm saying. Like organization se sab nahi hota hai. What you need really is for the central government to ensure that there is free and fair voting in the state of West Bengal. And you also need, basically, from what I understand, if you want BJP to vote, BJP to win, then you also need somebody to, be the face against Mamata Banerjee, which you don't have. Okay. Now, a lot of people might argue that so there are two possibilities in 2026, right? Um, in 2026, it can be two scenarios. So TMC clean sweep, two-thirds vote, like 200 plus seats. BJP is less than 100 seats. It's gone. Okay. Again, the same as 2021, it will be a very bad for BJP supporters and all that. You can imagine what can happen. The other scenario is the BJP gets more than 120 plus seats, which is still a possibility if it works hard. Now, um, that's the thing. Like if they get 120 plus seats, they can easily buy MLAs, which is not impossible, which the BJP has done in the past. Okay. So that is the other possibility, that 120 plus seats. Now, if it's closer to 130, 140, then they don't need to buy too many. If they have 120 plus, they just need to buy 30 more or so, and the TMC will collapse like a house of cards. Now, what's happening with 2026, I don't know entirely. I'm not, Jyotishi or RSS guy per se. I can only say that it's not as dire as you think it is. Like, there is a anti coalition against the TMC that is working. Okay. And if you think about it, the Hindutva issue in West Bengal has never before been so relevant. Like every news channel I go to, every rally, many rallies are there, many kind of different kinds of news you get all the time, and the Bangladesh issue, all of this has certainly had an effect on the mind of the Bengali voter, irrespective of caste and location. Okay. um yes, anonymous Hindu, you are making some good points, I agree. But you can't also deny that 2019 that they did well, so something went wrong. Like what went wrong can be discussed 100 times, but you can't change it, right? So I think that what could work is also a fact that the local leaders need to be of BJP need to be kind of selected by one guy. It's always, there's this tussle I hear between the local leadership and Shubhendu Adhikari and all this stuff, like that is uh that kind of is a big problem that is hindering the progress of the BJP in the state. I don't know about the RSS factor, to be fair. The RSS, I don't know. When BJP wins, the RSS claims that it worked hard, so BJP won. So when BJP loses, the RSS is always like, we are not there, so BJP lost. So I don't know when the RSS decides to work or not. So I have no idea about the RSS's ground level activities. But I can tell you this much, that West Bengal is ripe for change. That much I can tell you all. But whether
Uh,
that can be adequately
yeah,
harnessed by BJP is
yeah.
a big question.
Sorry for interjection. I think this is something which I think a little bit more. So this whatever you see in media, correct? So everybody thinks, and that might be a revolution to many people actually. Everybody thinks that the left, Congress, and other political parties have a well-oiled propaganda machinery which they run, okay, which they actually run. Okay, so all the political parties, especially left, Congress, parties, they have a very good well-oiled machine. They are doing this for last 30, 40 years, so they have every connections, and they'll be able to put their point of view across the media, and you will, as a consumer, as a voter, will get that information on WhatsApp, on other media platforms, via journalists, newspapers, magazines, movies, everything you will see. And everybody thinks is that BJP is like a good for nothing party organization. They don't know how to do propaganda, or they don't know how to do narrative building, all those things. And that is something which is, whatever I have known, understood in many ways, there is a kind of a like a layer two machinery which at works. So the thing is, and that is quite an invisible machinery which actually works, and nobody understands it deliberately in many ways. So you have to understand that if the BJP can win 320 seats in UP, okay, do you think they are winning the seats without spending money on a lot of things, a lot of conventional things which other parties do and BJP does not do? They do, but we don't understand it, and we think in binaries. Okay, so your enemy or your friend, they are not going to be as bad as you think they are, and as good as you think they are. They are going to be in between. So for every political party organization, there will be good and bad things, and there will be gray areas. Sometimes it will be left or right, it will go good or bad. So I think for a understanding of politics, think in terms of gray areas, not black and white, that BJP can't do propaganda and Congress can do propaganda, or AAP can do propaganda. Everybody does propaganda in their own way. Somebody does it, you know it, they do it. Somebody does it, you don't know it. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, absolutely, and I totally agree with you. And see, देखो organization बनाने से ही नहीं होता है. Like if you get a, you can have a brilliant organization, but you can lose an election. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether the people are also, see, elections are also reflection of people's aspirations, right? So if people want the 1000 rupee Lokhi Bhandar thing and they don't care about Bangladesh issue, they don't care about national security, they don't care about corruption, they don't care about Abhaya, they don't care about various kind of rigging in elections, political murders, they don't care about all this, then yes, I mean, even if Modi ji puts like 50 people in every booth and all that, it still won't matter if the voter, by and large, despite seeing now the today's world, unlike what happened before in the CPIM era, where you can say the media is manipulating you and the media is kind of the one-sided. Nowadays that excuse doesn't work. The voter is well informed. There is Republic, there is ABP, there are hundreds and thousands of channels on YouTube and all, who are giving you all kinds of information. Okay, now it is up to you as a voter to understand that if you are going to a state outside West Bengal, you are getting better quality roads, better quality lifestyle, more safety, security, less corruption, better facilities, uh, you know uh, overall better quality of life, right? Why do you not have the same aspiration for West Bengal? That is the bigger question to the voters. Now, apart from that also, I think that we have to understand that it's also something that it's so let's say we come to the setting question, right? So I think most people don't deny that there is a setting between TMC and BJP and all that. Most people are not denying. Even BJP leaders these days don't say it, like there is no setting. They just ignored the question. So, no,
Uh,
Abhay, I
yeah.
think,
MS, just put the context. Political parties, whether they are left, right, extreme left, left, extreme right, they talk to each other. There is a communication which happens, and
Hmm,
that is
hmm.
what you call setting. They call it internal, whatever their
Yes,
name is.
yes, 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 yes.
They are talking to each other. See, a bill in Rajya Sabha gets passed, and the party in majority, the party in government doesn't have a majority in Rajya Sabha, and the bill gets passed. How is
Yes,
get passed?
true, true. Including
So
Wakaf bill.
exactly. So this see that's why we are here, just to give you a bit more context. That when you say BJP is doing setting, political parties talk to each other. They do setting all the time. Okay. Sometimes it becomes very overtly. It comes into the limelight. Sometimes it is hidden behind, and you don't know it. Go ahead.
Hmm. No, no, I agree with you, but I'll address
Hmm.
Abhay's question of, let's start taking some of the points. I think there are really good points in the
Yeah. So
chat
we'll
box.
you can do one thing. I have actually listed down. You just tell me, then I will highlight it. So that would be better option.
So one is the last comment of Abhay, where he's
Okay.
saying
Last
that
comment of Abhay. Okay.
50 years of communist conditioning doesn't just go away.
Go ahead.
So I think yes, 50 years of communist conditioning doesn't go away. I agree, but you have to understand that BJP, and I've been saying this, not just me, the BJP is not anti-left. That is what I'm saying. The BJP is more left than the left. So if people say that we deserve freebies, we deserve socialism, then Modi is doing better socialism and freebies than CPIM ever did. So it's not like that. If you say that appeasement, Muslim appeasement, that is the only thing perhaps that is different between the ideology of CPIM and BJP. Okay, but even then, I will tell you this, that people are not stupid. Like, I think that Bangladesh issue right now, the way, see, earlier even the BJP or any national party, they had to keep Sheikh Hasina happy, so they couldn't show a lot of stuff about Bangladesh. Now the Bangladesh issue is fairly common. You can ask anyone and they think that something is wrong in Bangladesh, right? People are discussing Bangladesh. That much is there. And I don't think it is totally as secular, like, people who are uh, completely secular and completely, blind to what is happening in Bangladesh. I don't think that is the case. So I think that, the conditioning of the left is not working in the way you think. Like, people are also not stupid, right? When the left lost, they also lost their legitimacy among the people. Like, when you lose, right, people think that, oh, you lost, so they don't get the respect, so their ideas also don't get as much respect as you think they are getting. Okay, yeah, I agree, but the brainwashing of people into believing BJP is Hindu communal is bad, which is bad, is very strong. No, that's what I'm telling you. See, so in 2014, when Narendra Modi became the prime minister, a lot of people said Modi was in charge of what happened in the Gujarat riots of 2002. Now Congress and all others kept saying that Modi will never be prime minister, Modi will never be prime minister, and all that. And they said that because we cannot imagine that a bigot, a Hindutvawadi fascist can become the prime minister, according to them. Okay, whether that is the reality is a different question. A lot of people actually voted for him because of that. They thought that he will do what the Congress is accusing him of doing. Okay, so it doesn't always work the way you think. That's what I'm saying. People are not, people are not as clever as we want them to be, but people are not as dumb as we think they are. So there's a fine line there. Like, uh, doesn't always work the way you think. Okay, Mahisho vote bank. The population is nearly 30% of Bengali Hindu population. Can Mahishos be a factor if BJP? I'm pretty sure the Mahishos already vote for BJP in large numbers. I don't think like they vote as Mahishos, but I think they vote as Hindus in large numbers. I think Purvo Mednipur and all, they have BJP as decent, vote share right now. So I don't think that without the Mahishos, the BJP would have done what it is doing right now. So but I think the more I think that the BJP should play to the OBC card, like in the sense that the Mahishos should get the OBC and others should get OBC cards, because the TMC gave OBC category to OBCA category to Muslims, and that was cancelled recently by the High Court, and then it has gone to the Supreme Court, and I think it will be cancelled there as well, along, because you can't give reservation along religious grounds. So the BJP should play the Mahishu and other castes whom they can get into the fold by promising them OBC category. I think that might work.
Yeah, next question is also important because it's kind of a conundrum that we discussed. What is the difference between Assam and Bengal? Though Assam has higher M population, BJP wins it. However, they do not win in West Bengal.
Yes. I have actually, that's what I was saying. Like in Assam, the lower belt is quite, it's a factor that the lower belt is more Muslim and the upper belt has more seats. So it gets, the BJP gets its seats from there. Uh, so the difference is that, that's what I'm saying. Like, I at first thought that, the Hindus voted for BJP, but I assumed that it was the tribals and the Hindus everywhere who voted for BJP. Some sections did not, like places where Muslims were there, they did not. It was the complete reversal actually. So where the Hindus were mostly in majority in the seats, that's the place where the BJP did not get seats, too many seats in the western part of West Bengal. So then that got me to thinking that that means that we have a close to Assam like situation, not exactly, but quite similar to Assam, but we cannot leverage it because of the internal politics going on in those regions. Okay. And the people there, they are not as serious about change as we thought they were. So they are making a mistake there. Uh, when I say mistake, I mean that they if they think that the TMC is better for their future, then I'm sure that they are making a mistake. That much I guess we can say with some degree of certainty. Now, um, in these places, it would be perhaps, I think BJP should do more cash based outreach and more reforms based along the lines of kind of uh, what can I say?
Uh, yeah, MS, just one thing before we answer this question. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
see, like as an individual, correct, you live in an urban area, I'm an urban population, and people who are just posting questions, so we can take minimum questions there. So your questions might not feature because the context, or because I cannot see it, because there are a lot of people are putting questions. But if you want your question to be asked, you can use the super chat option. But we try to take as much questions as possible based on the time availability, on also on the topic. So
yeah,
on
yeah,
that part, so the urban population, which is the most vocal, which is the educated, who have
yeah,
access to a lot of media, okay,
yeah,
and and I'll give an example of Liberal Party of India, LPI. Okay, so
yeah, yeah,
they are making a lot of inroads, a lot of gain into the social media space. Okay,
yeah,
and I think they are also a registered party in India. Okay, so they are having a convention in March end, and they will be on our channel. We will be discussing a lot of things with them. But the question which there's a disconnect between the urban so-called elite, urban middle class, lower middle class, okay, who live a relatively better life than people in tier one, tier two, or tier three cities. So this disconnect between the real politic which happens in most of India, in tier two and tier three cities, and the urban elite who think that the policies of libertarianism is something good for the society, good for the individual, and good for the country, good for the economy, and why every party is not doing it. And the
hmm,
answer in my context is, in my opinion, is that you do not represent 95% of India. Urban population of India is 10% at max, or maybe 15. So the
Yeah.
majority population who live outside this urban area, they control the politics. So until the change happens in those areas, your libertarian policies are very good. I support them, but they never will come into reality until you breach the political fortress which is there. So go ahead.
No, in the sense that, see, Libertarian Party can be a kind of interest group. Okay, it need not be a mainstream political party. It won't be because of many limitations. Their ideas are actually difficult for a lot of people to swallow as well. Like most people still want. So, for example, if you want to privatize railways, I want railways to be privatized. Okay, personally speaking, but most people, if you tell them that railways should be privatized, they won't go for it. They'll get very angry and they won't like the idea. Also because most people think of government owned industries and institutions and government PSUs and all these, they think of these as possibilities for them to get government jobs. So that's the main thing. I mean, given the chance, a government employee would probably travel by plane, private plane, rather than the, a dirty train. Okay, but they will actually act like, the railway should not be privatized. So this is the bigger problem, I think, that libertarianism may not be mainstream right now, but it has to be pushed as an idea on BJP or other whoever comes to rule. I hope it's the BJP. Now that these ideas will have to kind of become more mainstream. People have to be convinced. The bigger issue here is that the government as an employer is actually a big problem. The government as an employer creates a lot of problems among for the economy, for example, because the people get paid by our taxes, but they are completely grossly inefficient. They do very little work and they kind of get pensions for nothing and all that stuff. So this attitude, where people want to be feudal lords, has to go. But for that to go, we need to convince people on an ideological plane. For so I'm not saying that everyone should become libertarian, but some of their ideas are actually quite good for the country, the progress of the country. The babudam, the kind of desire to be feudal lords, the communists, uh, the kind of demands for social justice and all that. Even I would say even men's rights, for example, anything can be better without excessive state intervention. In fact, because we allowed the state to intervene into our religion, now the state owns most of our temples, and the state is uh, entering into the marriage and trying to destroy the Hindu marriage. Okay, and the Hindu families. So the state staying away from us is actually a better thing. And look at West Bengal. See, a place like Gujarat, where I think, and I'm assuming, I've never actually been to Gujarat, but I've been to other places. So I'm assuming in other places where families and communities sort things out between themselves are more productive than a place like West Bengal, where police and party determine everything. Okay. So these ideas that the state is good and all that needs to go. That is a big problem. That creates a bigger issue. And the biggest problem, I think, is that because we Hindus depended on the state for survival and safety, we were tricked every time. Till 2014 we were absolutely tricked, and even after that we are being tricked in many ways. um Anyway, so we can move on. So
This,
let's say
yeah, this,
new voters.
hmm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. So in a sense, I have always had the feeling that if with the newer voters, the Muslims are more likely to gain because they have more younger voters. On the other hand, if West Bengal can accommodate more Bangladeshi Hindus, it would help, I guess. I don't know, like, again, like how that would work, or maybe they would become votaries of the TMC if the TMC gives them shelter. So I don't know. The new voters thing is always, unless you have the data and the facts, I can't really comment on that. So
Yes. So I think there are very good question. So
I think
okay,
Sanatani doctor asked a question.
yeah,
RSS.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'll take this question. Actually, this is a bit more interesting question. Ask Dada.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have heard that repeatedly that RSS aim is to curtail rights of M's and the depressed classes in India by imposing Manusmriti on them
Hmm.
and by snatching away their. So I think it's okay. You're talking about the propaganda which is done
Yeah, yeah,
against
yeah.
BJP. Hmm. So and we see that okay that propaganda is actually not like countered. Okay, and now we feel okay they are inept at doing not countering it, but sometimes
Yes.
it is just done deliberately not to counter them because it will help the other side to coalesce.
No, also, what happens, the in a sense, what happens with, in case of these kind of allegations is, I mean, you can go on countering it, it doesn't help. So, I mean, you can, the RSS has sent its people on TV shows, and the BJP has sent its people on TV shows, and people have tried to, do podcasts and various talks and all that, and try to counter these kind of perceptions with a lot of examples. But I believe that, sometimes offense is the best defense, in the sense that these kind of allegations need to be now leveled by the BJP against the CPIM and Congress heavily. The way Shehzad Poonawala actually does, I really like Shehzad Poonawala for that reason. He really gives it back to the Congress and the left. Now, whenever the left talks about lower castes and all that, they should be constantly countered with Morit Jhapi and all that. We should, there should be less, the more you play on the back foot, the lesser chances of you are to score. Okay.
Yeah, we'll go back to the question that you had asked by Santhi Doctor. Ask
Yes, yes.
why has RSS been failing till now in West Bengal despite a good social base, and what's the guarantee that they can perform well in 2026? Go ahead.
Um, I think that, I don't know if the RSS has failed. Like, I don't know. Like, the RSS has many schools and colleges, and they have kind of, social organizations and unions and all that. So I don't know if that is a failure. But I can tell you this much, that if they, whether they want to help the BJP or not, that I think only Mohan Bhagwat can answer that. But I think that expecting the RSS to perform always will create an issue. So that's what I'm saying, that, we should stop dependence on always an external NGO or a political party per se. Of course, I'm not saying then stop voting and all. I'm saying that people should learn to voice their opinions on their own, instead of always depending on a party or a platform or an NGO or an organization, right? If you feel that BJP is better for the future of the state, then vote for it. Like, many Hindus and many Bengalis, I've seen this more among Bengalis actually, because the BJP, they think the BJP might lose, they won't vote for BJP. That is the kind of stupidity. I don't know. I mean, you have to vote for the party that best represents your interests, right? Now, if you know that the BJP might represent your interests, then you should vote for it. It's as simple as that. Now, if you think that the TMC represents your best interest, then you are just a deluded person in this country. Then anyway, there is no hope for you.
Is
But
that
that's
lack of is that
that
lack
the
of
RSS and
nutrition
BJP
happening?
cannot. Yes.
Is that lack of nutrition for last 30 years which is causes this stupidity to happen?
No, I think so. I think so. See, what happens is that, since we live like in West Bengal, the people live in a mostly pseudo authoritarian setup, right? Like, they don't have a. I mean, if you have a flag of an opposition party, you can go to jail, right? If you voice your opinions, you can go to jail, right? So the government and the police are always on the prowl. They are always trying to get rid of you in some way, especially if you're a Hindu. Now, since that has been the case for like 40 almost 50 years now, it's difficult for us to understand, the So in the cities we can still have more freedom and more freedom of expression, but it's difficult for us to imagine what people in villages go through after a panchayat election or before a panchayat election and all that, right? So yes, I agree that this is a difficult thing, although I'm telling people that you should vote for people according to your desire, but sometimes that's not so easy. And let's say they understand that your family voted for BJP and they come for you after the election, then you're screwed. And that is another place I think the BJP has not done enough. I think the Congress certainly did not do. The Congress and left had this setting for 34 years where the left kept killing people and the Congress never said a word in Delhi. People like Dhruv Rathi and all, Ravish Kumar, they will never point out to the post-poll violence of West Bengal and the political murders of West Bengal and also West Bengal. I would say has faced a racism not from North India, just we have faced an international racism in the sense that the violence here has never been highlighted by anyone, although it is the highest level of political violence in the history of this country ever after independence. So that is the problem that people have, and in a sense I would say it is also BJP's failure, where they should have funded studies. They should have, I don't know, advertised more. At least if I was there in a position of power, I would have said that, posted everywhere, like put pictures of, you remember, after post-poll violence there was a picture of an old woman with her face swollen up and she died a few years later. She was beaten
Yes.
up by TMC goons, right? So these pictures, if I were there, I would have posted all these pictures across the country, saying that, in big billboards, I would have put these pictures of people who died thanks to the TMC or CPM. And I would have said, see, your apathy, you not caring about Bengalis has done this. And in many ways, like, you can do that. Now, I don't know if that is the way to do it, but I would have done that at least. And
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
I'll
one
ask this question.
information
Yeah,
about
I'll
this.
ask this question. So, Somobai Sochi, okay, translated in English, and that's because our audience might not understand Bengali. So,
Yeah. Ask Shomurai Shochi. Hmm?
no, no, you like translate this into English and just give a question overview so that all people can actually understand. Because anyway, the program is in
Um,
English.
yeah, I mean, this is difficult Bengali even for me. তারপর দিদির চিহ্নিত বাংলায় চিরদিন থাকা আইপিএস কে কেন্দ্রে
Okay,
প্রত্যর্পণ করা, তার মানে
okay,
কি
I
এবার
will do this. I will
করা
do
যাবে?
this.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
if so, they are saying that if there are some IPS officers who are here for a very long time and all that, and apparently the new election commissioner is close to somebody, I don't know. So now can we expect a better situation in the voting
Uh,
when it's time to vote?
yeah, let me explain this because I think audience might not fully. Okay, so the question is, which is Bengali. The question is, there has been a kind of a good relationship between the TMC government and the bureaucracy to manage elections. Okay, good, bad, whatever, we don't know,
Yeah,
but that was the case. Now the BJP and the
yeah.
central government has done some tinkering within the law to actually make sure that the
That
setting,
that is being alleged. That is being
yeah,
alleged by
yeah,
one of
yeah, yeah. So that yeah, that's being alleged, and we don't have any proof. But it's something media reports are there. So as per the media reports, it is there. So now has something BJP has done in a way to actually create a better voting environment for the
state.
2026
Yeah.
elections in West Bengal. So that's the question is there, and he's asking opinion of MS.
I can hope again. See, again, I don't know the exact details. I've heard,
Hmm.
and the only way I believe that West Bengal can have a proper election is if there is 356 in the state. Uh, if there is complete central president's rule and elections are done, only then can you have a proper, absolutely proper election. Otherwise, I don't know. I can't comment on it beyond that. He has also asked that is
Hmm.
Shubhendu Adhikari as good a president can be a good a precedent as Dilip Ghosh, because Dilip Ghosh formed the Bengal BJP in its present form. He doesn't have to be the next Dilip Ghosh. He can be Shubhendu Adhikari. My point is this, that uh, if Shubhendu Adhikari is one of the few people who are effective, whose candidates are actually winning the elections in even in Lok Sabha 2024, then Shubhendu Adhikari by all means should be given an opportunity. It is still better than the present alternative in the party, right? Like those who are right now in the positions of power, they are not doing enough, I think, to counter TMC, and Shubhendu is. So I guess he might be a better choice. At least in my opinion, he is.
Yeah, so I'll take 2 minutes of this to answer this question because this is very important. When we talk about like a leadership, okay, so nothing happens in vacuum when you talk about a party like BJP. If you remember, after 2024 debacle that BJP suffered, there was a BJP party meeting happened in Kolkata, and Subhendu Adhikari was the first political like leader, okay, who uttered the word "जिसका साथ उसका विकास." So this is happening one year ago happening. So a lot of things are happening that who is good, who is bad, but I think uh, de facto leader is Subhendu Adhikari. It's just that they are not putting a name for whatever reason in internal political things they have not naming him, but in terms of all practical purpose, Subhendu Adhikari is the leader of BJP Bengal, and that everybody knows it. And so they just not putting the name because they don't want to offend some internal party workers. So that's the only thing.
Yes, and I agree. And see, the bigger issue here is not even Shubhendu or Dilip who is going to be better. Sometimes it's also about, uh, whether the right signals are being sent by the party. So, for example, I think that if the present leadership has not been able to win two elections back to back, then changing the present leadership, organizational leadership of the BJP might give its supporters a message that the party is ready for a change. Perhaps that might work. I don't know. That's my view. So yeah.
আচ্ছা, সনাতনী ডক্টর দাদা, আপনি একটু no offense to you, it's a English program, and we MS and I are actually learning Bengali because CPM has taught us so much better Bangla that we have forgot Bangla. Okay, so we are learning. So মানে
I
আমাদের
can
একটু
I
কষ্ট
can
কম.
get his questions, but it's very difficult to sometimes like talk and then
Hmm.
constantly read in this
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
bug.
yeah.
But I think
So
that I understand what he's trying to say. So recently, Abhishek Banerjee's name has come in the CBI charge sheet or something, and so he's asking us that whether is the setting still continuing among BJP and TMC, or what is this? So I believe that the setting is the reason that Bhaipo is being exposed. So it is the setting between the seniors. The junior wanted something, but he did not get it. I think that's the main thing. I think there were aspirations, but he did not get what he wanted. So anyway.
and that's what reality is. You want to win something, you want to do something, but most of all you will fail.
Precisely.
Okay. Okay, so this is an interesting question. So when I was talking about a few minutes ago that correct, everybody has a narrative mechanism. Okay, for people, they have a narrative mechanism that is overtly shown and they know it's happened. Now the question is, what is RSS doing in West Bengal for 2026? All of the news channels barking if RSS is going to feed the power to BJP just like a baby. That news has reached you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. No, how do you know that they are working differently? I am not saying that they are always in sync with each other, but we also, I think, none of us will know for sure if RSS and BJP are working in tandem. Right. This is only a possibility that we will know after 2026 elections. Like till then, everything else is speculation. And again, I'm telling you that, uh, you know, again, if organization matters and all, but in West Bengal, see, in West Bengal, let's say you go to a village, right, and you try to do a rally, you will go to jail. Okay, it's not easy to be a opposition party member in West Bengal. Huh. So it has to be it has to be all of this taken into account. I still believe that Mamata Banerjee is facing a kind of anti-incumbency that she has not faced till date, especially after the Abhaya case. Now, whether that will translate into votes or not, that is left to be seen. Now, we should wait a bit, and more importantly, we should also see what kind of messages people are trying to send across on social media, and what kind of movements happen, what kind of kind of sentiment is there on the ground, all that stuff. All this will come across only towards the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026. Before that, is very difficult to understand what is going to happen.
Yes. So now we have one more good question. I think we'll take one or two questions max, because we have very interesting topic to actually discuss and end this session. Because the questions will go on, and we have a lot of things to discuss. We'll do it in later. Probably we'll do a next stream in Bangla. Okay, because let's see. So last question, or the second last question. Actually, I forgot. There are so many of them.
Congratulations on crossing 800, by the way. 800.
800. I think that we crossed. I think yesterday itself.
Yes,
Actually, I was
yes.
sleeping. I was sleeping, and it got crossed. Yeah, this is a
This is
question. Sorry, I
typical,
got it.
typical
So
Bengali. You're sleeping and the world is passing you by. So
sorry. Yeah. So why there is a craze for Mamata in rural Bengal? Uh, after so your take.
yeah. So is it because Mamata destroying? No, no, no. I don't think the CPIM, like whatever she had to gain out of defeating CPIM, is over. So I don't think this is the factor, RS. I think that the craze for Mamata among the rural, there is no craze. So, firstly, if you think there is a craze, I'll tell you why I believe there is no craze. So, you will agree that right now the digital penetration has happened in India. Like most villages in India have 4G, 5G internet, and they have people are well connected by the internet, and people are watching YouTube videos and short reels and Insta and all that. People are doing this, whether you like it or not. Now, I can tell you something very interesting. Mamata Banerjee did a town hall in News 18 Bangla 2 months ago. And in her video, I saw I think it was less than 20,000 or 10,000 views, less than that. Okay. And I think there were only 500 or 1,000 likes, if I'm not mistaken. Huh. Whereas any average video of Shubhendu Adhikari, just yesterday I was watching a video of his, and he has 2,000 likes and 40,000 views in like one day. Okay. And this wasn't even a town hall that was organized and advertised. In Mamata's case, it was completely advertised all over Calcutta. I remember there were hoardings and all that, and even then there were very few views. You guys can check it out. I think you can check it out and put out the stats, the present stats of News 18 Bangla, when they interviewed Mamata Banerjee. So I can tell you that there is no craze. The only reason people are voting for TMC are twofold. One is that one group, a large group of people, want to avoid BJP because of their, religion. The other group is because they are dependent on TMC, and also they fear for their lives. Like if they vote against TMC and TMC wins, and TMC knows that this bloc did not vote for us, then they have bad news coming their way. So these are the only reasons that the TMC is winning. I don't think anyone loves the TMC. I don't think even TMC leaders or TMC workers love TMC. Okay, so that part is not there. I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we have a
So
question from Barbarica
yeah,
City.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So thank you for your super chat question. So we appreciate you helping us. Being a capitalist, I think we appreciate you distributing your wealth to us. Okay.
thank you, thank
Please
you.
do it. Please do it frequently. So the question is, actually, it's a very important question which actually you ask, and a lot of people are affected by that. Is it even an election if they keep pauperizing the state till everyone with any aspiration immigrates to another state, which is happening for last 40 years or maybe.
Yeah, I think that see, this has not only been happening in see, it's not about whether this is an election or not. Of course, if people are migrating to other states and they are staying there, and they don't come to vote, then of course it's not a very good thing as an election, right? But having said that, I still think that there are plenty of people who stay back, and many people who come back to vote. There are large sections of people in this country who go back to their villages and homes to vote during the elections. Okay, and I think these people are definitely going to vote for Lotus if they are not Muslims. uh, that I can surely tell you, because many of them work in BJP ruled states, and they are certainly aware of the development and the see. This is also one more reason why BJP does well sometimes in elections. When a lot of people come back to vote, they get good votes, and these are all Bengalis who are working in different parts of the country, like Bangalore and Mumbai and Gujarat and all these places which are BJP ruled, and they come back and they realize, oh, West Bengal is still so backward and still so underdeveloped, so they vote for it. So
Yes. So, okay. So our questions are over. So what we will do is, I think we have a lot of questions. So let's organize a Q&A session on this election and BJP part. Okay, in maybe coming weeks. So we'll take only questions. I think that would be a better option because then we can accommodate more questions because people will be have
yeah,
questions, and we will finish this discussion with something that actually I wanted to do and keep it a secret with everybody, including you.
wow.
The voter behavior. Okay, the voter behavior, how a voter votes, because we all vote, we don't know why we are voting. Like, we do not do the calculation of mathematics and other things and do, okay, I will vote for this. We just make up our mind, go and vote, okay, for whatever who we want to vote, or whether we want to vote or not at all. So the case of game theory, okay, and how
Mhm.
game theory is sometimes used by political parties at the subconscious level to actually create a kind of a vote, uh, a vote bank for them. So, what do you think this shift of Dalit votes from CPM to BJP is a kind of a testimony towards a kind of a game theory analogy that we can draw?
No, I agree with you. Actually, I was very interested in game theory. There was this book by David Rudner, okay, called The Northern Nathars of Tamil Nadu. So he did a game theory analysis of the social mobility of the Nadar caste in Tamil Nadu. Okay, and he showed that originally, when the ethos was that of the more classical ethos, the religious ethos, the Nadar caste used to kind of do kind of Brahmanical symbolism to do what they did. So this was typical Sanskritization that you would see in different parts of the country. Later on, when the state modernized, then they started going for more Western tropes of upward mobility. But the thing is, the upward mobility was constant, and they did it by the set rules of the game. Now, in according to the voting behavior of the Dalits in the state of West Bengal, they are one group that has been constantly, and in West Bengal the state of Dalits is actually quite bad, unlike many other states where Dalits have actually improved their lifestyles. So this is a group that has constantly sought social mobility but not got it. So that is why they are always going to go for the more kind of you know uh, uh, they are always going to go for the challenger in that sense. They went for CPIM at one time when the CPIM was giving off. See, dekho, CPIM ke time mein there was no other party to do go with, so they kind of went with CPIM most of the time. But now that there is a possibility of a challenger to challenge the TMC, now they are going for that, because there's a possibility of gaining more from the BJP, not just in terms of money and power and all that, but also in terms of their citizenship demands and their rights and all that. So if you think about it, the Dalit groups are actually in the same position as they were for a very long time, but they have kind of modified their uh, what can I say, their allegiance based on the rules of the existing game, right?
Yeah, okay. So there's a question. So when we will have the Q&A, so that we will see. We need to find out the timing, other things, but we also need to find a few things. So MS, do you have anything else that you want to share before we say goodbye and sign out to everybody?
No, nothing new per se, but I would say that uh, if you look at it, when communists and leftists, they constantly call BJP a Brahmin Baniya party and all, I think it should be countered with actual facts and examples. And I think that there are books like the Lynch Mob and papers and books that you and College Street Kolkata are reading and all, but this should be made more mainstream reading, like people on, like, with popular channels, right, like Sofikul Islam, Shanmay Banerjee and all. If people know them, they should do more of this. They should make the CPIM feel guilty for what it did, because till we do that, the CPIM can go on pointing fingers at everyone and claim to be superior morally, which they never were, right? So that needs to be done. Till and The Dalits, I think, they don't give a damn about all this perception and all. They are just getting more benefits from BJP, so they are going for BJP right now, and that is how voters are, as you explained in your points. And I think that is apart from this, but certainly we have to understand that the CPIM is not a friend of the Dalits, and we need to constantly emphasize this, like everywhere on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you get, or videos, YouTube, wherever. The CPIM should be reminded of its atrocities against Dalits, and only then we'll be able to have the conversation that we can about who was actually good for the Dalits and who are actually harmed them the most in the state. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again to Babarga Samiti for taking the membership as well, and also for the super chat. So we really appreciate your contribution towards capitalism and our fight against communism. And so one more thing. So I think you gave me a good idea. Actually, I have some contact here and there. I might get few people to come to my show, and maybe their audience can come, and then they can, maybe they can't read the book, but if their audience comes to us, then they might actually read a few books or hear us
Yes,
read a few books. That can be a good idea, and that can happen before 2026 election. So that can be a good option.
certainly, certainly.
Okay. Let
Yeah.
me see. Let me see, because time is very, very precious. But I'll try. I'll try. I have some things here and
Let's
there.
do this well. I don't think that this will, shift millions of votes for BJP. I
No.
think people are already making up their minds whether or not to vote for BJP. But one thing is that the discourse war, the narrative war, that is where I think the pro India forces are always weak, always, and that is where we must work. I guess take it slow, but take it steady, and arm yourself with facts and logic and figures and data. So that will be our main, that will be the main way we can kind of counter all this misinformation.
Yeah. So on that note, we will end our show today. And don't, people who are listening to this, there are 37 people listening to this. Don't miss our show on Sunday. We are having Deep Haldar and Rami Desai at 8 p.m. to discuss the future politics
Wow.
of Bangladesh and the strategic importance of East India and Northeast in terms of Bangladesh crisis. So it's going to be very interesting. So I don't think a lot of people have talked about it because Trump era politics, Bangladesh, and East India, and how the Bangladesh issue is going to shape up in coming months and years is going to play a very important role in the East Indian context. People who are living there. So Sunday, 8 p.m. 2nd of March, Rami Desai and Deep Haldar will be there with us to talk about this usually in English. So do tune in for that program. And we will also have the author, Mr. Devapratim Ghatak of the Lynch Mob, probably be away, coming next week. And we also might have the Dr. Shomo Dey also come for his new book launch. So do
Great.
subscribe to our channel, do
Wonderful.
subscribe and help us grow so that we can invite more guests, we can read more books on our channel. So on that note, thank you, Mr. Lizelot. Thank you, MS. And thank you to everyone. Thank you to members. Thank you for super chat. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have one more program coming with Vijitda, a Bengali session. So Jai Shri Ram, Vande Mataram.
Yes, Vande Mataram.